All right, and we are off and we are recording. Okay, this is a video on units of measure conversions. Hopefully this will be helpful for our students or anybody else who's watching this video on converting units of measure. I'm going to be making this video into an Edpuzzle video for my students, and not only will it be on YouTube, but it'll be on Edpuzzle as a little assignment where you can work along. If you're watching this on YouTube, though, you can also work along. There'll be moments where I suggest that you pause, have on a piece of paper, and try the problem on your own, and then resume the video to see me go through it. So let's get started. The first thing is solving conversions without Google. All right, it's really important that you can do this without pulling out and whipping out your phone or asking, I should even say, or Siri. I don't know if I spelled Siri right or not. But it's pretty important that you can do that without using Google or asking Google or Siri or whatever for help, right? However, I do understand sometimes that even myself, I don't have maybe the ratios, the conversion ratios memorized. So my students, they'll be getting a list, like a key of some typical measures, units of measure that they'll need to be able to convert, like feet, centimeter, or feet to miles, inches to feet, feet to yards, just the basic standard and the basic metric units, which you normally use when solving problems at the high school level. So first thing you need, you're going to first start off by reading the problem. How many miles are in 30,000 feet? So I have feet and miles. The first question is that an easy conversion? When we think of miles, do we think of that as an amount of feet or an amount of inches? It's an easy one. We think about it in feet. Miles and feet go together. If you're to look at a list, they're side by side. Feet go to miles, miles can go to feet. So that ratio is 1 mile equals 5,000. Gotta make that Nate. And 80 feet. So that's a quick conversion. And how the foolproof method to solving units of measure conversions, if it's a simple one, is setting up a side-by-side fraction with an equal sign so that you can cross multiply. So what I mean by that is this is a ratio. You can also think of it as it's a 1 to 5,280 ratio. And then we can make these two things into a fraction. Doesn't matter which one you put on top or bottom. So you can let me set it up different. We could do a 1 over 5,280 equals, or we could do, I'll show both because it doesn't matter, equals. Right, and now what does it equal, right? We have our fraction bar over here. Got to set it equal to another fraction bar, and when we're setting up this right side, it now does matter whether we put feet or miles on the top or the bottom because they need to match up, right? So if I put miles on top here and feet on the bottom here, that needs to match up. So over here, I need to be putting 30,000 feet. So if I put in 30,000 feet there, we're trying to solve for the miles, right? So think about what do we normally give things when we're trying to solve for them. A letter, a variable, usually X, all right? So let's put X here. So we need to solve for how many miles? X miles. How many miles are in 30,000 feet? Cross multiply. Hopefully that's something that you should be doing in middle school. My students that are watching this hopefully are remembering how to cross multiply. You make a cross. So when I cross multiply, I'm going to multiply these two things, and I'm going to multiply these two things. So if I drop my equal sign, 1 times 30,000 is 30,000. X times 5,280 is 5,280 X. Now, it's a simple next phase to solving this is I need to cancel out this multiplication. So what inverse operation cancels out multiplication? Division. So I divide both sides by 5,280. Divide this side by 5,280. That cancels out here. So I get, what do I get? I'll pull out my calculator because I don't even know. 30,000 divided by 5,280. We're going to round to 2 decimals. So we're going to get 5.68 equals X. Now to finish this off, because this is a small story problem, but it is a story problem. So I would say about 5.68 miles. Don't have to answer it with a full sentence, but at least give it the context, you know, give it the units that it's due, right? That's what we need to solve for, not just 5.68 equals X. We need to solve for how many miles are there? There's about 5.68 miles in 30,000 feet. Okay, and we rounded 2 decimals. That's why you put the about symbol, the approximate. Now I'm just going to show quickly that if you set it up on this side, still get the same answer. Won't do this for every problem. Oof, I messed that up. Off to a bad start. Feet, miles. So this needs to be feet and this needs to be miles. So when I come over here, I get 30,000 on top here, and on the bottom here, I get what I'm trying to solve for, which is the miles. So when I cross multiply, I should be getting the same thing. So 5,280 times X is 5,280 X. 1 times 30,000 is 30,000. And then again, you just do the same exact thing. Cancel out 5,280, 5,280. All right, I'm not going to keep going. You get the same, it's the same thing. You're doing the same exact thing. It doesn't matter if you have feet on the top and miles on the bottom. It just matters that if you're putting miles on the bottom, miles better be on the bottom on both sides, okay? And if you're putting feet on the top, feet better be on top on both sides. So it's going to lead me into, like I was saying, if you're watching this on YouTube and you want to try your best to learn this right now, I would suggest pausing this video and on a piece of paper, trying to solve this problem. I will add in, actually, if you don't know the conversion is 1 pound equals 16 ounces. All right. Gosh, I hope I'm right on that. I hope I am right on that. You know what? Let's do a little Googling. Let's do a little bit of Google. Like I said, even I sometimes don't remember. So my students will be getting a key. So yeah, okay. Whew, I was right. I was gonna feel real not a good teacher if I was wrong on that. Yep, 1 pound equals 16 ounces. All right. And again, another way to write that is this is a 1 to 16 ratio. So if I'm gonna, well, now that you know the ratio, you can pause the video and try this for yourself following that other example. So pause. Okay, now we're gonna resume. All right, so now I'm gonna solve it. So I'm gonna set up my ratio. I'm gonna do this just once because like I showed above, doing it either way is the same. So I'm gonna do a 1 over 16 equals, so this is pounds, this is ounces. So when I set this up over here, this should be pounds and this should be ounces. So what do I have? I have 4.5 pounds, so that's gonna go on top, 4.5. And on the bottom is gonna go my X because I don't know what it is. I'm trying to solve for how many ounces. Don't know what it is. All right, so we cross multiply. Cross multiply. 1 times x is easy, all right? That's x. You can put the 1 in front of it if you want to. I don't. So I just got 1x. 16 times 4.5. What is that? That's 32, 64, 64, 72? 72? I'm going to double check that. I think it's 72. 16 times 4.5. Yeah, 72. All right, so we get 72. And that one, there isn't another step. We're done. Now we just got to answer it fully. So, and this one's not an approximation. So it would be 72 ounces. Okay. Hopefully you got that. If you didn't get that, hopefully you understand what error you made. Let's go on to the next one. Again, for this problem 3, I was just, once I write down the units, the unit conversion, to try and solve it for yourself. So the unit conversion is 1 liter equals 1,000 milliliters. Okay, so we have a 1 to 1,000 ratio. So go ahead and pause the video right now. Okay, a little awkward. I'm not used to making these type of videos. So we're gonna try and solve this. So I'm gonna set up my ratio. I got a 1 to 1,000, and this is the liters, this is the milliliters. All right, equals, this is gonna be the liters, and this will be the milliliters. All right, so we have the milliliters. Oh, don't mess with my paper. I have the milliliters. So that's 3350. All right, which means I'm trying to solve for my liters. Put next there. Start off, cross multiply. All right, so I get 1,000 times x, 1,000x. 1 times 3,350 is 3,350. All right, and then we need to cancel out multiplication, so we divide by 1,000. Both sides. Cancels out. And we get x equals 3.35. And that's not an approximation, that is exact. All right, so that's 3.35. So I would write over here 3.35 liters. All right, so hopefully you solved that one right. Now, number 4, I don't want you to pause the video for number 4, because this is where it gets a little more tricky with unit conversions. All right, it gets a little more tricky with unit conversions when we get to here. Because centimeters, hopefully, you know, centimeters, meters, kilometers, you realize centimeters doesn't go directly into kilometers. Centimeters, so if I was to write this down, 100 centimeters equals 1 meter. That's not a kilometer yet. I want kilometers, or I have it in kilometers. So the next thing you have to do is, I also have this other conversion of 1,000 meters equals 1 kilometer. So this is, you're not going to be doing cross multiplication for this one. This one, we have 2 ratios, 2 things that we can create a fraction out of in order to solve this. So I don't want you to pause this video. We're going to walk through this one, and then number 5, you guys can pause and try for yourselves. So what I have is, you need to work from the bottom up, okay? So I'm going to go from centimeters to what I have, which is kilometers. I have 3 kilometers, so I want to find out how many centimeters are in 3 kilometers. What I know is there is 100 centimeters in 1 meter. right? Another thing I know is in that 1 meter, or no, not in that 1 meter, in the 1,000 meters, there is 1 kilometer. So I've gone from centimeters to meters, meters to kilometers. Now I need to go to, I don't need to change the units anymore. But I do have more than 1 kilometer, right? I have 3 kilometers. I have more than 1 kilometer. I have 3 kilometers. So what I need to multiply next by is the 3 kilometers. Now something fancy happens here. Okay, something fancy happens here, and what happens here when doing this is the units you don't want cancel out. So that's why you multiply by the fractions of the unit ratios, is because they cancel out. So I have meters and on the bottom. Sorry, I'm stumbling late at night. We have meters on the bottom and meters on the top. So those cancel each other out. Again, here we have kilometers on the bottom and kilometers on top. See, if there's no fraction bar, then it's on top. So these cancel out. And if you notice, there's only 1 unit left. And I'd refer you back to here that's the units that we want. We wanted to convert it into centimeters. We want to convert those 3 kilometers into these centimeters. So if I multiply this all out, we should get, so let's put equal sign. If I multiply this all out, we are going to get how many centimeters there are in 3 kilometers. So I'm going to do 100 centimeters times 1,000 meters times the 3 kilometers. Big number. And we get 300,000 centimeters. That's the answer right there. 300,000 centimeters. Okay. So for my students, I know this is new to them. They probably have not seen this before. So it looks complex, but all you need is, if you have your ratios, you start from the bottom, right? We go from centimeters to meters, and then we go from meters to kilometers, and then lastly is how many did we have? How many of those kilometers did we have, right? So for this next one, for number 5, so if we have number 5, we're going to go from seconds to days. So if I was to write out the ratios for that, we have 60 seconds equals 1 minute. We have 60 minutes equals 1 hour. We also have, so this is a little bit different than the one above, we have a third thing, because we need to get to days. So we're at hours, so the next thing is how many hours are in a day. So 24 hours equals 1 day. So we now know the conversion, right? We know that we have gone from seconds to minutes. We've gone from minutes to hours. We've gone from hours to days. All right, so now all you need to do is you need to create, just like up here, you need to start from the bottom and create fractions, multiplying ratios, proportion ratios, probably not proportion ratios, but ratios from bottom, and work your way up by converting, and then the units should cancel out, leaving only the units that you want. And in this case, we want to end with seconds. So everything else should cancel out. So I would really like to see, I guess I can't see, but I'd really like it if you're one of my students to pause the video right now, try and solve this by following the example above. You're just gonna have a third fraction, all right? So pause, resume. All right. So if you tried it, you got your answer. So let's go through this. So just like we set up our fractions up here, I'm going to set up a fraction here, right? So 60 seconds is 1 minute times 60 minutes is 1 hour times 24 hours is 1 day. So we had our 60 to 1, 60 to 1. We had our 60 to 1 hours, 60 minutes to 1 hour. Then we had our 24 to 1 for hours a day is 24 to 1. The last thing is how many days do I have? Because I got it to days, but how many do I have? I have 2 of them. So times 2 days. All right. So again, you should see that I have a minutes on the bottom and I have a minutes on the top. So cancels out, cancels out. I have an hour on the bottom and an hour on the top, cancels out, cancels out. I have a day on the bottom and a day on the top, cancels out, cancels out. And I'm left with exactly what I wanted. I'm left with the seconds, which is what I'm trying to solve for. All right. So now I just grab my calculator and I do all that multiplication. I do 60 times 60 times 24 times 2. So 60 times 60 times 24 times 2. And I am left with equals 172,800 seconds. So that's how many seconds, if you ever wanted to know, are in 2 days. There's 100,072. Wow, I need to get some rest. Okay, I'm going to end this video right there. I hope this was helpful. I'm sure I'll be making an actual lesson video other than just a few example problems on this. There might be another one coming out soon. But like I said, hopefully it's helpful. And thank you for watching. I'm going to end it there.